Do you think shorts were a good option today?
We're Nick and Charlotte and welcome to our YouTube channel Finding Fins. We quit our jobs to travel the UK in our transit van in the search of whales and dolphins. Follow our adventures as we discover the amazing wildlife we have on our doorstep.
So the orca were last sighted just off Black Skerry there, and they said that they were heading south towards Gossaborough, but since then there's been no more sightings of them. So we were there. Well, at the moment we're probably like here in the middle of the sea, so we're just debating whether or not to go here, which seems to stick out. We'll go all the way over here and hopefully catch them on the way down, then have to drive all the way back if they start coming this way. But we're not sure. While on the ferry, we had news that the pod had turned back and headed up north towards Cullevo, so we thought Brecon Sands would be a good location. This is our fourth day of seeing orcas, and we've come all the way over to the Isle of Yell, and we've come over to Brecon Sands. We've pretty much followed them along the coast all the way along, from Cullevo all the way along, but they haven't come in really close to shore. We've managed to see them just off the coast, and they've been tail slapping, they've been breaching. It's been amazing.
We've gone from seeing absolutely nothing to seeing them like 4 days in the same week, and we've seen otters.
Yeah,
like 3 days as well, so yeah. All of a sudden everything's just happening.
It's all happened all at once. We just had an amazing otter encounter, and when we were waiting at the ferry terminal at Toff to come over to Yell, and the otter was sat on the side of the pier.
We've also got a bit of sun as well.
And we've got sun, and we're in shorts. So yeah, it's all going well. This pod of orca are known as the 27s. It was our second time seeing this pod after our amazing encounter with them at Eshenes, which you can check out in a previous video. Although this encounter was further away than last time, the orca were really active, which was great to watch. Since this footage was taken in July of this year, the pod still consisted of 8 orca at the time. As you can see, the white boat turns to follow the pod as the filming boat continues to pursue them.
sure if we've managed to get any actual footage of it, but if we have, you'll see that the orcas are doing a lot of tail slapping. So they're obviously agitated by the boats being so close to them. A couple of minutes ago, both boats sort of boxed them in. So the orcas were in the middle, they were tail slapping, and the boats were right next to them, probably about 10 metres away from them. So
there's a lot of agitated behaviour.
Yeah. The things we do to get orca footage. It looks not as steep as it is, but it was quite dangerous.
It's more dangerous because we haven't actually got proper shoes on. Got no grip. It's like doing it in your slippers.
Nick managed to get some shots of the orcas breaching and spy hopping. While in Shetland, we got to see the 27s one more time briefly in the distance back on the mainland. We're just slightly north of Lerwick, near Gremister at the moment, and we've just been told by a lovely lady that we met who lives locally that there are actually some orcas. They're just, well, over in the mist over there. She's such a lovely lady, and it turns out she's from Newcastle, where I'm from, so I think we sort of hit it off, and she's been keeping us updated. It's also started to pour with rain, and typically we're just on a bit of a headland, so we're getting drenched, and hopefully, I mean, I don't know, hopefully something turns up, but they are around that corner, and just hopefully they keep coming down this way, and it doesn't take too long, because otherwise we're gonna look like drowned rats. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about the boats that seem to be following the orca, and they say that they're actually like a film crew, and they also say that they've got a license to be able to do this, to follow them round and get quite close to them as well. But every single time we've seen the orca so far here on this trip,
which is probably around 4 days now, we've seen them on different days. Yeah,
the same boat has been there, and they follow the boat round, don't they? Like from the moment they find them till the moment they sort of go offshore, which could be like 8 or 9 hours at least that they're spending following these orcas around.
I'd love to watch whatever film they're making, so it must be about 80 hours long. It must be a big saga.
And it just makes you think, eventually, like that's going to have an impact on these pods, because the noise disturbance is going to be crazy under the water, and surely eventually the orcas aren't going to want to come back. It's going to change their behaviour. We're probably not seeing the behaviour that they would normally sort of display whilst they're coming around these shores, just because there's boats there. There's a film crew and also a speedboat following them around as well. So surely eventually they're going to stop coming to Shetland, which sort of defeats the point of them getting the footage if they're recording them to then, well, then just not going to be here anymore. They're just going to decide not to come.
It's just a bit selfish, really, isn't it?
It is selfish, and it's frustrating. Yeah, but they're there still. We can see them on the horizon, but they don't look like they're coming in very close to us. And we're drenched. Oh, absolutely drenched. How are you feeling?
Really cold.
Do you think shorts were a good option today? Our clothes are never going to dry.
We said we'd never do this again on the Isle of Lewis, and then here we are, drenched.
Drenched. If you enjoy watching our videos, we'd love it if you could give us a like and subscribe to follow more of our adventures.